FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. The date is March 23rd, 2016. Gold price being driven down and silver as well. Gold right now is right at around $12.19, down almost $30 the ounce today. Silver has been knocked down 63 cents, and more fun and games in the markets. Andy Hoffman is here. Andy, how are you?
Fantastic. As I was just saying, here in Denver, it was 70 degrees yesterday. And today I'm talking about not the gold blizzard, an actual blizzard here in Denver a day after it being 70 degrees. So it's fitting for what we're going to be talking about.
Very fitting. Very fitting indeed. Hey, weather-wise, well, it's another day in paradise here in Florida. It's going to hit 80 degrees and it's dry, which is always good and welcome. But
Yes.
It's not too dry in the markets there, huh?
Right. And again, you talk about down $28 today. We'll get to that in a second. I'm calling it the Brussels Bash. This is, in fact, yet another named storm to go along with the Leap Day violation and Operation PM Annihilation 1 and 2, and the alternative currencies destruction of 2013, and the Sunday Night Silver Massacre of May 1st, 2011, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let alone the one we had this summer. Remember when gold went down $52 an ounce on a Sunday night in 10 minutes after China lied about how much gold it had? Yeah. Actually, 2 days after it. So yes, this is a big deal in terms of showing how desperate the cartel is. And yes, down $28, but more importantly, down $40 from 24 hours ago. After the terrorist attacks in Brussels, probably, one of the worst terrorist attacks, both in terms of casualties and symbolism in the middle of the airport of the capital of the European Union as you could possibly get. And as I wrote in my article yesterday, I said this happens every single time you have a major terrorist event. It happened after the French attacks back in November. It happened after the London bombing of the subways back in 2005. And I even included a chart of, yes, 9/11, when the price spiked up and right at the same time as usual in the morning, Cartel Herald and right back down, because obviously 9/11 was not an event that could possibly cause any kind of ramifications to the world. And look what happened in the ensuing 15 years. So, this to me is the most egregious of all, because there's really not much else going on. I mean, the Dow's down 20 points. And this with a bunch of Fed governors, 3 Fed governors talking about how we may raise interest rates. And that in the middle of horrible economic news. I mean, new home sales, existing home sales. We just had these, what was the other horrible economic data point we had 2 days ago? So you're talking about pure chaos. We're talking about collapsing economies around the world. Now the commodities are all falling again. And no, it's not gold that's falling because commodities are falling. Gold was smashed down before the commodities started falling down. This is just pure chaos. And you're talking about central banks in absolute desperation. And what they're going to do is create physical shortages in markets that are already incredibly tight.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, that's what all the indications are, that there's nothing to be had.
I mean, even Societe Generale, one of the top Wall Street lackeys out there, they wrote yesterday. They wrote it. They said silver production is going to fall 13% in the coming 2 years. They said it. Yeah. For years, all the Wall Street guys would say, and the CPM group, Jeffrey Christians, there's always plenty of supply out there. Don't worry. Well, how about that? Now they're talking about supply falling. Today, I read an article, the Wall Street Journal just put it out. It said the mining industry lost more money in 2015 than it made in the prior 8 years. And remember, before that, you had all the catastrophic losses of 2008. So we're talking about an industry that has been so utterly decimated that it'll be shocking if it survives the next wave, when commodity prices start falling again. There's been no capital expenditures. All the people have been laid off. The balance sheets are worse than ever. So despite that, we've had a rally, and I was writing the other day about how modest and pathetic the CRB's rally has been compared to how much it has fallen. We're going right back down again. This is the great deformation. This is the massive oversupply. It's overcoming the oil PPT's best efforts to juice things higher by writing ridiculous rumors every day about oil production freezes that don't matter and wouldn't happen anyway. We're going right back down in the commodity complex, and all those hells that were in our world only a month or two ago are going to come back to roost. And just like gold and silver were the best performing assets in every one of these smashes, from the one last August to the one 2 months ago to 2008, when gold was pretty much the only asset that was up for the year other than treasury bonds, and silver in the real silver world, the physical world, was basically unchanged for the year. The same thing is going to happen.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, we're starting to see production has actually been going up until I think 2014 of silver and gold, if you can believe the numbers. And now it's definitely headed downward, probably right at the point where demand is really going to pick up. And then who knows what's going to happen. They'll be scrapping again. You'll have the gold parties and the 24-hour gold, drop off your scrap and get cash and all that. But how much of that scrap is left after the last?
I'll say au contraire on the scrap parties. There's a reason why cash for gold and all those things have gone out of business, because everyone who had scrap to sell has sold it. There's not, all of those businesses. I remember Cash for Gold went public. It was a big stock. And then if it hasn't gone bankrupt, the stock went to almost nothing. And you just don't see the advertisements anymore on TV because it's not that much gold, the people that are scrapping like the jewelry to pay the bills. But the gold that was out there has been sold. So that source of supply is gone. And as for production, yes, gold and silver supply have increased over the years, but by tiny amounts. I think the gold rate of increase was 1 or 2% for many years. We're talking about this is compared to demand rocketing to record highs at double-digit rates. And of course, money printing going up, who knows, triple-digit rates for all we know. It's certainly in Japan. That was their plan, remember, to double the money supply in 2 years. And here we are 3 years later, and they're still doing Abenomics. And silver also, a couple of percent per year against, a backdrop of record demand. But a lot of that came from base metal mines. And now base metal mines are going to be shut en masse. So not only are you going to have falling supply from primary miners, because everyone's getting all excited about the silver rally. Silver went from 50 to 13.5, and now it's 15.20. It hasn't helped the industry that much. And that's why the industry, the industry lost more money, for instance, last year, the whole mining industry, than it did made in the prior 8 years. Well, guess what? The average silver price last year was no different than it is today. So the industry, despite feeling a little better and having the mining stocks go up because a bunch of institutional money is speculating on them, the industry is just as bad as it's ever been. The Glencores are just as bad as they've ever been. They all are. Yeah. So again, you are seeing the end game, the death throes of manipulation right here. And I can assure you, think about it. We had the biggest silver shortage in our industry that we've seen since 2008, last summer. There wasn't even a crisis last summer. Here they're hitting, and I kid you not, they hit silver 25 cents in 3 seconds. I watched it this morning. This was an all-out concerted attempt last night. The day that silver had its golden cross, I might add. Yesterday, its 50-day moving average crossed above its 200-day moving average, which in freely traded markets would cause the price to go up. The point is, they came at it with a desperation like I've never seen before. And all it's going to catalyze is people looking at the price and going, oh my God, I got to buy it at this bargain level. And supplies are going to dry up just like they did in 2008, just like they did after the smash in 2013, just like they did in 2011 when prices went up, just like they did last summer when there wasn't even a particular crisis.
Yep, no doubt. We're seeing it all over the place and nothing is getting better. And then the terrorism is back in the headlines. There was a time when that type of thing happened and gold actually went up.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I started out the call. That's not the case. Ultimately, look at 9/11, what the price of gold was, and look what it was after because of the ramifications. But what they do is they smash it after. Gold went up from 1242 at the time of the Brussels attack to 1260 yesterday morning. And, sure enough, 2:15 a.m., same as always, 600 out of 700 trading days, Cartel Herald algorithm straight down. And all day long, despite the horrible economic data that came out, they just keep pounding away. And then in the ultra thin traded market, after the 4 o'clock p.m. New York Stock Exchange closed, they walk it down. Then today it was not 2:15, it was 12 o'clock midnight. Stroke of midnight, gold fell $10 in about 2 minutes for absolutely no reason. And then, of course, as soon as you got to the New York markets, they went to town. But again, these terrorist attacks, they have ramifications. What it's going to do is going to further break up the European Union. I mean, I read today that the odds of the votes of the Brexit, that's going to be the vote on June 23rd, whether the UK should leave the European Union, for the first time, it is now the polling is that it will leave. And this is a major cataclysmic event for European trade. And that's just the start of it. I mean, think about what the reaction is going to be by the politicians and the citizens in all these nations. I mean, they're still reeling from what happened in France. And I got news for everybody. This is the same thing as France. This is just as bad. It'll have just as many ramifications. In fact, it's almost even worse because the France thing, they were doing it in movie theaters and restaurants. I mean, this was in the train station in the center of the Brussels, airport in the center of the Brussels, the capital of the Union. I mean, this is basically a declaration of war.
It really is a war on the EU. And what are they going to do about it? Well, probably not much. In the final analysis, arrest a few people and say the problem's been solved. And it really hasn't because, it's all been predictable, foreseeable. They've been digging their own grave for a long time, and now it's going to come to pass.
Well, I mean, and what can they do? As far as, I mean, who are you going to arrest? You arrest a couple of Muslims and say they did it? You just say ISIS? Does anyone even know what ISIS is? Does anyone care what ISIS is? You know, Donald Trump says he's going to nuke them, but does anyone even know or understand what it is? It's just kind of like Hitler and the Jews. Just find some enemy to blame everything on. You know, again, they were blaming it on ISIS before the bomb had even finished exploding. They were blaming it on ISIS, and then of course they say ISIS claimed responsibility. I mean, ISIS will claim responsibility for anything bad that happens. But the fact is, this is a migrancy crisis that was created by economic collapse. That was created by too much printing of money. That's what created the oversupply of oil, the oversupply of commodities, the oversupply of everything. So you have billions of people around the world that are destitute and are going to be racing out of their countries looking for places to live. And it's going to cause even more political divisiveness and social revolution around the world, but particularly in Europe, because it's got its 25 different countries and all those borders that are right next to each other.
Yep. Yeah, this is a situation. It's really existential. I think what potentially humanity could be, if it's not handled properly, we're looking at another dark ages. I hate to say it. Not exactly like the dark ages of the middle centuries there, but feudalistic breakup of countries and all sorts of other bad things. So, hey, hope for the best. Buy your gold and silver. Make sure you go over to milesfranklin.com, sign up for Andy's daily missive and his frequent audio blogs. While you're at it, go over to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Take a look at our stuff, articles like what Andy and I have been discussing from all over the world. Our webmaster, Stefan, works hours every day getting you this information. Take a look at it. And lest I forget, don't forget, we've got an event going on in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's going to take place April 21st of 2016 at 6:30 p.m.
It's free.
And it's free. Hey, most importantly,
we've decided for logistical reasons to make it free to the public, as well as the online interactive webinar that we're going to be doing simultaneously that Kerry will be hosting. It'll be entirely free, as will, and again, that's Fort Lauderdale on April 21st. We've just announced 2 new dates, also free: Houston on Friday, May 20th, and Chicago on Friday, June 24th.
All right. So don't miss it. And you can either go over to milesfranklin.com, sign up there, or if you're on financialsurvivalnetwork.com, simply look at the top on the menu. There's an entry there, Florida event. Just go there and click it, and that'll take you to the sign up page. And Andy, hey, a lot going on. It's real interesting. We'll see where things shake out for next week, and we will talk to you then.
Looking forward to it.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.